And of course, to thank Njami, who took up the risk to do a project with such a small art institution in Berlin and put up, I would say, a very, and maybe one of the most successful exhibitions we've done, not only because of the number of people that came by, they were in their thousands, but that's not the point. It was about, you know, having the guts to grow up, to kind of look into history, into a history that is really, at least in this space we exist in this German context, that is so often ignored or silenced. So we thank him for having those guts, you know, to do this kind of a project with us. So before I call on Njami to come on the stage, I'd like to say one or two words about the exhibition itself. So in the past 3 months, we have had many people come by to see the show, so both art-affine and non-art-affine people. The discussions have been lively, controversial, but always very enriching. One point stood out very strong along the line, that people do indeed have an interest in the German colonial history. So it's not about the fact that people are not really interested in looking at it. It's also about who proposes what. So a lot of stuff is not proposed. So since we proposed that, we noticed that there are people that are actually interested in knowing much about that history. So we try to dig as deep as possible.
Yes, indeed. The most important show I've done in my life was that in Berlin. First of all, because I don't think I'm a Berliner, so it's kind of a very ironic thing. And I don't know who thinks he's a Berliner. I don't know what is a Berliner. But I've heard about the Berlin conference, and I think that we're still suffering or dealing with the, how do they say in war, the collateral damages of this conference. And if the Berliner thinks that they had nothing to do with all this colonial history, they're wrong. Of course, you are special, and you know the history. So it's not only that the conference was held in Berlin, and also that the Germans took their part in the bargain. There's something you probably read the title of my presentation, which is The Heart of Lights. Of course, it's a reference to the heart of darkness. And I guess I'm going to deal with the issue of color, light, darkness, white, black, and its relationship to the Berlin Conference and to the colonial adventure or the colonial business.
Well, thank you all for coming. I'm not sure most of you are here for me at all. So I'm not even sure how much time I should be taking up, since this is both a commemoration, quote unquote, of the Berlin Conference, and it's also a commemoration of Simon's exhibition at Savvy. However, I thought what I would do, there's so many connections that I would like to make to what Simon just talked about, and I fear that if I do so, I'm never going to get to some of what I had meant to talk about. But some of what he's brought up about France is the preoccupation of a lot of the work I've been doing over the last decade. And it's not only in the work on imperial debris, but on something I call colonial aphasia, race and the disabled histories of France, which is going to be a part of this new book coming out next year, which is called Duress, Concept Work for Our Times. And one of the things I was trying to do in this aphasia book is really get rid of the vocabulary of forgetting. Oubli. Ah, I don't know how I just forgot that.